Greetings, world explorers. I am Oftheworld, your guide to the nations of the earth. Like a wandering bard, every week I embark on a voyage of discovery, unearthing the hidden secrets of a unique corner of our vast sphere. Our adventures span from the ice-laden wilderness of the Siberian tundra to the sun-kissed sandy beaches of the Caribbean islands, with no horizon too distant or terrain too challenging for us. This week, our compass is pointing us towards the enchanting land of Brazil, a mesmerizing country nestled in the heart of South America. Brazil, the fifth largest country in the world, is an electrifying fusion of vibrant culture, diverse landscapes, and indomitable spirit. Like a rhythm that captivates the soul, Brazil sways to its own unique beat, an enchanting dance of tradition and modernity. Today I will guide you on a deep dive into the compelling tapestry of Brazil's history and geography. Brazil is a nation that has been shaped and molded by its past, a past that is as complex as it is fascinating. From the indigenous tribes that first claimed this land as their own to the arrival of the Portuguese explorers in 1500, who imposed an indelible imprint on its culture, language, and architecture, Brazil's history is a rich mosaic of influences and transformations. In our exploration, we will visit the remnants of Brazil's colonial era in the historic towns of Ouro Preto and Olinda. Ouro Preto, with its winding streets and Baroque architecture, was a significant site in the 18th century gold rush. Olinda, on the other hand, is a beautifully preserved specimen of Portuguese colonial architecture, its colorful houses and cobblestone streets a testament to a bygone era. As we delve deeper past, we will explore the period of dictatorship that marked the 20th century, a turbulent time of political unrest, but also of rapid modernization and progress. We will analyze the impact of this era on Brazil's socio-political fabric and its ongoing legacy. Our journey will then us through Brazil's diverse landscapes, from the Amazon rainforest, the emerald lungs of our planet, breathing life into its vast biodiversity, to the floodplains of the Pantano, the world's largest tropical wetland, teeming with unique wildlife. We will traverse awe-inspiring Iguazu Falls, a natural spectacle of unparalleled scale and beauty, and stand beneath the imposing statue of Christ the Redeemer that stands sentinel over the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro. From its cities to its tranquil natural splendor, Brazil is a country of contrasts, a land where the echoes of the past commingle with the rhythm of the present. So, fasten your seatbelts and brace yourselves for an unforgettable journey as we navigate through this vibrant nation, uncovering its fascinating past and present wonders. Follow us as we navigate this vibrant nation and uncover its fascinating past and present. Our journey begins over 10,000 years ago with the first traces of human life in Brazil. This land was an untouched paradise, teeming with biodiversity and lush vegetation. Here, the first inhabitants of Brazil, the indigenous tribes, thrived. The early Brazilians weren't a homogenized group, but instead a diverse collection of tribes, each showcasing its own distinctive culture, practices, and languages. Of these tribes, one significantly stood out: the Tupi-Guarani. The Tupi-Guarani tribe was influential, known for their command of agriculture and their complex societal structure. They thrived in the tropical climate, growing crops like cassava and corn and hunting the teeming wildlife in the dense forests. They were not just skilled in agriculture and hunting, but were also adept potters, weavers, and craftsmen. They crafted artifacts, providing insights into their lifestyle and beliefs. The tribe lived in clans, each run by a chief, and their spiritual practices focused on the veneration of nature and the spirits of their ancestors. The Tupi-Guarani's imprint on modern Brazilian culture is substantial. Their influence is evident in the Brazilian Portuguese language, with numerous words of Tupi origin still used today, including abacaxi for pineapple, tucano for toucan, and piranha for piranha. However, life wasn't always tranquil for these early Brazilians. Disputes between tribes over territory and resources were common. Through these trials, they developed traits of resourcefulness and resilience, qualities that have stood the test of time. These early Brazilians set the foundation for the rich and diverse culture that Brazil boasts today. Their legacy, although often overshadowed, forms an integral part of Brazil's identity. The indomitable spirit of the indigenous cultures of Brazil saw them endure centuries of change and trials, and they continue to survive and thrive today. This spirit is a testament to the tenacity of the indigenous tribes. Their story, the story of the dawn of Brazil, is the first chapter in a captivating and rich tapestry of history that unfolds over the centuries. Despite the myriad changes and challenges that have come their way, their influence and presence continue to be felt in modern Brazil, a vibrant tapestry of cultures and influences. Their narrative is the dawn of Brazil, the first chapter in a long and fascinating history. It's a testament to their enduring spirit that despite centuries of change and hardship, the indigenous cultures of Brazil continue to survive and thrive today. Their story is the dawn of Brazil, the first chapter in a long and fascinating history. Fast forward to the year 1500, enter the Portuguese. As part of their ambitious quest for expansion and exploration, 15th century Portugal dispatched seasoned mariners to seek new lands. One of these brave explorers was Pedro Álvares Cabral. His accolades were many, but he was on the precipice of his most significant discovery yet. Commanding a robust fleet of 13 imposing ships, Cabral was tasked with the critical mission to chart a sea route to India. As the unpredictable currents of destiny would have it, he ended up unveiling an entirely different world. Imagine their surprise. One April morning, land emerged on the horizon. It was a sight for sore eyes, a revelation that would forever change the trajectory of their voyage. This was not India, with its vibrant spice bazaars and bustling cities. This was something different, something untouched. This was the land that we now recognize as Brazil. Can you the astonishment? Instead of the tantalizing aroma of Indian spices, they were greeted by the lush greenery of the Brazilian rainforest and the exotic taste of acai berries. Upon setting foot on this newfound land, Cabral claimed it in the name of his homeland, Portugal. The vast landmass was christened as Ilha de Vera Cruz, translating to Island of the True Cross. But let's acknowledge the reality. This was far from an island. It was an extensive continent, teeming with life and potential. Regardless, this momentous event signaled the beginning of Portugal's colonization in Brazil. It marked a significant shift in Brazil's historical narrative. However, let's not overlook the realities that transpired beyond this romanticized tale. The land that Cabral discovered was not an untouched canvas waiting for the strokes of civilization. It was a vibrant collage meticulously crafted by its original inhabitants. The tribes that resided there, the Tupi, the Guarani, the Arawak, had been calling this land home for centuries. They had their own culture, systems, and way of life. But the arrival of the Portuguese brought with it an inevitable clash. The indigenous people faced a barrage of alien diseases, forced labor, and the erosion of their culture. The Portuguese, driven by greed, were hell-bent on exploiting the bountiful resources of Brazil, particularly the lucrative Brazil wood. Despite the onslaught of adversities, the indigenous people displayed a remarkable resilience. They adapted, resisted, and endured. Their influence is still palpable across Brazil, from the language to the cuisine. However, let's not jump ahead. The arrival of the Portuguese was a historic turning point, setting the stage for dramatic transformations, from colonization to independence, and from monarchy to a republic. This marked the beginning of a new era for Brazil, one that would forever change its course. Sugar, a sweet yet sour chapter in Brazil's history. This complex narrative can be traced back to the 16th century, marking the beginning of a transformative era that would have far-reaching implications for Brazil's social, economic, and demographic fabric. The Portuguese, having staked their claim over Brazil in the preceding century, discovered that the country's fertile soil and tropical climate were ideal conditions for the cultivation of cane sugar. This was a commodity that was in high in Europe at the time. Consequently, the Portuguese kick-started the sugar era, a period characterized by the establishment of large-scale sugar plantations known as engenhos, predominantly across northeastern Brazil. These plantations comprised more than just fields of cane. They were multifaceted operations that included mills for crushing the cane, boiling houses for extracting the sugar, and even distilleries for producing rum. This presented the question, who would operate these extensive plantations? The answer was found across the Atlantic Ocean, with the introduction of the Atlantic slave trade. This saw countless African men, women, and children forcefully transported to Brazil, forced into a life of toiling in the harsh conditions of the sugarcane fields. The work was grueling, the conditions were inhumane, and the average life expectancy was shockingly low. Despite these dire circumstances, sugar production in Brazil continued to thrive, propelling the country to the status of the world's leading sugar producer by the 17th century. But the ramifications of the sugar era extended beyond mere economic growth. The importation of slaves resulted in a significant racial mixing, which has been a defining feature of Brazil's demographic landscape to this very day. Furthermore, the era spawned a social hierarchy with a small number of affluent plantation owners at the apex, and a large mass of enslaved Africans and their descendants forming the base. This hierarchy, birthed in the sugar era, has left an indelible mark on Brazil's social dynamics, underpinning the stark socio-economic disparities that continue to plague the country. Undeniably, the sugar era was a watershed period in Brazil's history. It ushered in wealth and prosperity for a select few, but the human cost was staggering. Era is embodied in the legacy it left behind, which continues to shape Brazil's racial and social dynamics. As we reflect on this period, we realize that the repercussions of the sugar era are still being felt, making it as integral to Brazil's historical identity as it is complex. The sugar era, a time when the sweet taste of prosperity came with the bitter aftertaste of human suffering, has had profound and lasting impacts. This era left a bitter aftertaste, shaping Brazil's racial and social dynamics. From sweetness to sparkle, Brazil's next chapter was all about gold. This historic era, the 18th century, witnessed Brazil's metamorphosis from a sugar-dominated landscape to one of gleaming gold. The most defining event of this century, known commonly as the Gold Rush, initiated a series of drastic changes that redefined the socio-political fabric of the Brazilian society and the contours of its economy. In the earliest years of the 1700s, the glimmering allure of gold was discovered in the heartlands of Brazil. This discovery ignited an unprecedented scramble for wealth, as thousands thronged towards this newfound promise of prosperity. The frantic pursuit of gold was spearheaded by a group of determined prospectors, the bandeirantes, who swarmed into the interiors of Brazil. This influx of gold seekers led to a significant demographic expansion and the subsequent establishment of numerous towns and cities. One notable city that sprang up during this period was the illustrious Ouro Preto, or Black Gold, a name that echoes the city's entrenched association with the Brazilian gold rush. However, the gold rush was not merely a frenzied scramble for wealth. It served as a catalyst for profound socio-economic changes that would irrevocably alter the course of Brazil's history. The precious metal trade filled the coffers of the Portuguese crown with immense wealth, endowing them with the power and resources to exert greater control over their colony. In the 1763, capital status was shifted from Salvador to Rio de Janeiro, a strategic move that brought the seat of power closer to the gold mines and the coast, the departure point for Europe-bound gold shipments. This relocation of the capital marked a significant turning point in Brazil's colonial history. Yet journey towards independence was already being charted. The seeds of liberty had been quietly sown amidst the frenzy of the gold rush. The population surge, the growth of urban settlements, and emergence of an influential local elite fostered the development of a distinct Brazilian identity, separate from that of Portugal. This burgeoning sense of national identity culminated in the historic declaration of Brazil's independence on September 7, 1822. The heroic figure leading this movement was none other than Pedro I, son of the Portuguese king. Pedro I ascended the throne as the first emperor of Brazil, heralding the dawn of a new era in the history. The attainment of independence set Brazil aglow with the promise of limitless potential, carving out a path towards its own unique destiny. The Gold Rush epoch had transformed Brazil from a mere colonial outpost into a proud and independent nation. This period, though marked by turmoil and drastic changes, was also a time of expansive possibilities. A land that was once bound by the chains of sugar production was now bathed in the golden glow of freedom and promise. The tale of Brazil's gold rush and its journey to independence serves as an enduring testament to the nation's resilience and adaptability in the face of change. From sweetness to sparkle, Brazil's next chapter was all about gold. The 20th century dawned, bringing winds of change for Brazil. A new era was unfurling and a transition was taking place. The Republic was introduced, marking a significant shift from a monarchy to a democratic form of government. The first president, Marechal Deodoro da Fonseca, took the helm in 1889, initiating the establishment of a new political landscape. However, the inception of the Republic was not just about politics, it was a time of rapid and technological progress. Factories sprouted across the nation, replacing traditional agricultural landscapes. Bitter beans of coffee, a dominant player in Brazilian exports until then, were slowly replaced by emerging industries. Steel mills, automobile manufacturing units, and textile factories started dotting the nation's landscape. This industrial revolution mobilized a drastic change in the socio-economic structure, leading to an increase in urbanization. The agrarian society started transforming into an industrial one, and people began to migrate to cities in search of better livelihood opportunities. Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro witnessed an exponential growth, their cityscapes forever altered by the relentless march of modernization. Nevertheless, the Republic was not satisfied with mere industrialization and urbanization. In the mid-20th century, it embarked on a project of monumental proportions, the construction of a new capital. From the heartland of Brazil rose Brasília, a symbol of a nation looking forward. A testament to Brazilian ambition and ingenuity, Brasília was conceived to be a city of the future. The man behind its futuristic architecture was Oscar Niemeyer. His designs were a stark contrast to the colonial style of the old capital, Rio de Janeiro. Brasília was built to propel Brazil into the world of modernity, reflecting the nation's aspirations and dreams. Nevertheless, despite such progress, the Republic faced numerous challenges. Economic disparities widened, and social unrest began simmering beneath the surface. But the spirit of the Brazilian people remained indefatigable. They persisted, facing each hurdle with resilience and determination. They believed in the power of progress, in the promise of a brighter future, and in the ability of their nation to overcome the odds. Brazil was transforming in leaps and bounds, yet not without its challenges. Even with the struggles, the nation's growth was undeniable. As we delve deeper into Brazil's history, we'll witness how this resilient nation braved the turbulent waters of the 20th century, emerging as a vibrant, multicultural powerhouse on the global stage, a testament to human perseverance and the indomitable spirit of progress. In 1964, a dark cloud loomed over Brazil's vibrant landscape. A military coup d'etat had abruptly disrupted the democratic order, replacing the elected government with a brutal military regime that would reign for 21 long years. Known historically as the Years of Lead, this era was marked by a ruthless disregard for basic human rights, enforced political censorship, and an intense political crackdown. Under the unyielding control of military commanders, Brazil experienced a dramatic shift from a promising democracy to an oppressive, authoritarian state. The regime methodically targeted civil liberties, crushed political opposition and dissent, and employed the use of brutal torture and intimidation as instruments of control. In contrast, the country's economy initially experienced an unexpected boom, glorified as the Brazilian miracle. However, the prosperity proved to be fleeting and resulted in exacerbated economic disparities and impending financial crisis. Despite the regime's stranglehold on power, a sense of resistance started to percolate towards the late 1970s. This was spearheaded by ordinary Brazilians, students, labor unions, and religious groups who were united in their opposition against the military regime. As a result, the Diretas Já, or Direct Elections Now movement was conceived, which marked a collective demand for a return to democracy and an end to the iron-fisted military rule. By 1985, the military regime was losing its grip on power. The crumbling economy, coupled with escalating domestic unrest and international condemnation, forced the ruling generals to relinquish power. Consequently, Brazil held its first civilian presidential election in over 2 decades, signaling a triumphant resurgence of democracy. However, the path to democratic restoration was fraught with challenges. The nascent democratic Brazil struggled to contain economic instability, rampant corruption, and a haunting legacy of widespread human rights abuses. The Dirty War deeply wounded the nation's collective psyche, but instilled a resolute determination to preserve democratic values. Brazil's history is incomplete without acknowledging the tenacity of its citizens. Rising from the ashes of authoritarian rule, they emerged not as defeated victims, but as resilient survivors. They waged a relentless battle for their rights, their voice, and ultimately their freedom. And so, Brazil emerged from this era with a renewed spirit, embracing democracy and its possibilities. The nation's tumultuous journey from military dictatorship to democracy stands as a powerful testament to the indomitable human spirit and the unwavering faith in the attainment of freedom and justice. Let's leap into the present day and meet a land of captivating contrasts and glorious diversity. As we step into the heart of its vibrant culture, we are greeted by a sight uniquely its own. From the pulsating energy of its major urban centers, the tranquil beauty of its lush forests and expansive wetlands, the land stretches out in all its magnificence. At the heart of its political machinery, Brazil operates on a presidential system of governance. Its current president, Jair Bolsonaro, garners significant global attention, having guided the country through a labyrinth of political complexities. Bolsonaro's leadership has been replete with both triumphs and trials, each of his decisions carrying the weight of over 200 million lives that call this nation home. Economically, Brazil stands tall as a global powerhouse. It's one of the world's leading producers of coffee, soybeans, and sugarcane, forming just a small part of its extensive agricultural portfolio. The economic engine is further powered by the diverse mix of agricultural, industrial, and service sectors. However, the journey is not without its bumps. Challenges such as inflation, income inequality, and corruption continue to loom ominously, threatening economic stability and growth. This nation also takes pride in its vibrant cultural fabric, a simmering melting pot of various cultures. This testament to its indigenous roots and the influences of various immigrant communities is evident in the nation's music, dance, and cuisine. Yet, social issues like poverty, crime, and environmental conservation to cast a long shadow over its demanding urgent attention. Yet, it is the resilience of land that truly sets it apart. A nation that has successfully hosted mega events, showcasing its ability to bring together people from all corners of the globe. Brazil is making significant strides in renewable energy, setting a global example with its extensive use of biofuels and hydroelectric power. As the story continues to be penned, it never deviates from its inherent character of resilience, diversity, and vibrant culture. It is a tale that continues to evolve, one that promises to bring more exciting chapters in the future. As we look to that future, we can only anticipate what lies in store for this fascinating nation, but one thing is certain: it will continue to captivate us with its spirit, its people, and its place in our global community. From indigenous tribes to a bustling democracy, our journey through Brazil's history has indeed been a captivating saga. The early settlers, the indigenous tribes, painted a rich tapestry of customs and traditions, a testament to the nation's cultural diversity. The arrival of the Portuguese marked a pivotal turning in this saga, a time of exploration and cultural fusion. New governance and economy systems were introduced, leaving an indelible imprint on the nation. The era and the gold rush brought prosperity and growth, but also the grim reality of slavery. The transformation from a colony to, though fraught with challenges and a military dictatorship, demonstrated the indomitable spirit of the Brazilian people as they fought for a democratic nation. Today, Brazil stands as a vibrant democracy, a cultural melting pot, and a significant global player. Much like the mighty Amazon River, its history remains fluid, shaping not just the past, but the present and the future. Indeed, history is not just about the past, it's about understanding our present and shaping our future. As we wrap up this voyage through Brazil's past, let us continue to explore, learn, and grow. Stay curious, world explorers, until our next journey.